This is Money Moves on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Happy Friday. Lookout weekend as we welcome you to Money Moves on VSiN, the sports betting network, Sirius XM channel 158, iHeartRadio, YouTube TV, wherever you're watching or listening. Welcome in. Stormy Buonantony, Jonathan Von Tobel with you, holding it down for the next 2 hours live in downtown Las Vegas. How are you today?
I'm good. Looking forward to hitting the road tomorrow.
Yes.
I'll be out there in the Bay Area. I had to stop Gil as he was sprinting out because he is heading out there as well. So looking for some recommendation. If anybody's out there that has some nice recommendations for me to go check out, I have a free day in San Francisco on Sunday. So I like dive bars. I like Mexican and Asian cuisine or anything in between. So let's see what's out there.
I am a little bit worried about your hotel situation for the first day out there.
Well, you're bougie, though. I'm down with just give me somewhere to sleep, and I'm fine with it. I'm a man of the people.
I don't think I'm bougie. I just feel a little bit worried for you that you're thinking about staying in a hotel room that could have a sink in where the bed is.
Yeah.
It's a little
I'm
odd.
staying it for those. I'm saying it looks like a hostel of some sort.
For his extra day.
Yeah, for my extra day. And I mean, I am bougie to an extent. One of the floors is like a shared bathroom, and I did call and I was like, I'll upgrade.
Man of the people.
That's right.
Jonathan
Well, I am to an extent, but I mean, like, come on, we're gonna get like a staph infection or something, sharing it with some of these people.
Let's not go there.
I don't know.
But hey, if you have any opinions or suggestions on where JVT should go in San Francisco, tweet at us at MeJVT, at Storm Buonantony, at VSiN Live. We will be reading some of your tweets, thoughts throughout the course of the show. That said, let's set the table for everything we have to come because with the Super Bowl on deck, we got a lot of great people to discuss it all with.
It's time for the top headlines and topics of the day. This is The Rundown.
Guest list today, beginning in 15 minutes. VSiN Zone, Mike Palm joining us here in studio, VP of Operations here at Circa Resort and Casino. Get the latest from behind the counter, betting the Super Bowl, also some big NFL news.
That apparently every NFL media member knew was coming down the pipe, even though nobody has said anything about it as the Vikings move on from their general manager. So, yeah, looking forward to see what Mike has to say. Always has a unique take on that. And, at least I've been watching. It's been an entertaining couple of days in hockey. See if he's got anything there.
Oh, yeah.
And, of course, the big bet for the Super Bowl here.
Oh, yeah. We'll talk about that hockey in a second because yesterday was awesome. We will also have VSiN Zone Will Hill join the program, get some of his best bets. I know he's got some plays in college hoops as well as the Super Bowl. And Zach Cohen later on in the second hour breaking down a 9-game card in the NBA. He is locked and loaded with plenty of props, and I know you've got thoughts as well.
Oh, yeah. Cross-sport props is that as well. We'll talk about those today. NBA, NHL, PGA, and I'm sure we'll have some more as we get closer, too. So very much looking forward to diving into those.
Yeah, lots of big game betting angles as well as we are less than 2 weeks away now for just over a week and a half. I don't know. How many days are we at now?
Let's see, 7, 8, 9.
Getting closer to the Super Bowl, which means more markets are becoming available, whether it be DraftKings or we saw the Westgate reveal earlier this week. I saw a coin toss scoregami jersey number for the first touchdown scorer added, any non-quarterback to throw a touchdown. We'll get into some different fun things throughout the course of the week.
What about a QB-agami? Have you seen these?
No.
This is a new Twitter account trying to get off the ground where they're tweeting out unique quarterback stat lines
Fun.
that have never happened before.
All right.
I don't know if those are true or not, but it's an account nonetheless.
I'm probably not going to fact check them. I'm going to be honest.
I mean, well, let's be honest as well. Do you fact check scoregami? Or do you just trust that every single one of them is true?
What I think is funny is when people in the media availabilities post-game tell the coach or question the coach about their score being a scoregami,
Sure.
why would they care?
Right. Well, that's a unique thing. Trying to find storylines.
I don't know. We're going a little too far. But we're going to start
I'm going to write that down. Make sure you never bring it up.
I'm not going to ask a coach about it in a post-game presser. I can guarantee it. Please bookmark that because it ain't going to happen. We got to start in the NBA, though, because can you believe it? How about the performance from Con Knippel and the Charlotte Hornets yesterday, who win their 5th straight game, 6th in the last 7, and it was a fun rookie-on-rookie duel with what Cooper Flagg put on, what Con put on. What an awesome game last night.
It was absolutely fantastic. Con Knippel with the game-winning free throws to seal that thing up, and still Cooper Flagg had an opportunity to get that thing done. At the end of it, he cannot. Ultimately, though, for Cooper Flagg, 49 points, 10 rebounds, 3 assists, and a block with just 2 turnovers on 29 shot attempts. Flagg was incredible, and you mentioned Knippel was absolutely brilliant with his 34 points. Goes 8 of 12 from three-point range. Started, I believe, 7 of 8, if I remember correctly. Was just hitting absolutely everything. But you hit it. I mean, we talk about our holy trinity every single time of Con Knippel, LaMelo Ball, and Brandon Miller. 34, 22, and 23 points respectively last night. All 5 starting members for the Charlotte Hornets getting to the double figures. Really good game for Charlotte. It was like a perfect result for us.
Yes.
As we both have a Hornets win total. I also took the Mavs yesterday, plus 4.5. Mavs cover every number there, too, as they only lose by 2. So could not have been better last night in terms of entertainment and result.
Perfect situation. And speaking of what you did with Brandon Miller as a part of this, looking through some of the numbers, Hornets 14-6 when he scores 20 plus, compared to 4-8 when he doesn't, and 3-14 when he sits. When you have that core group available, they've been a different team, and now on the road, 9-3 their last 12 road games. So not only clicking in general recently, but even away from Charlotte.
Yeah, they've been absolutely brilliant. We've talked about this a ton with this team. When they are full and when they are healthy, they're a team that statistically is on par with some of the better, at least this lineup is on par with some of the better lineups in the NBA. Look, they're really live, obviously, to make the playoffs. We've talked about this. At 21 wins, and we need how many more? 4? 5 more?
Yeah.
We need 5 more. This is, again, I'll say, I feel relatively confident on January 30th they're going to get there.
Let's go.
So we'll see if they can get there and get their way into the play-in and ultimately to the playoffs. There are some pretty good numbers out there on them to do so, but I think that those are going to dry up for good. And now this is going to be a team that is starting to be viewed by the betting market and by others in their ilk, right? We're still talking about a play-in team, but one that should be respected ultimately. Right now, minus 115 to make the play-in. We were talking about that at 4-1. And remember, after they lost that first game when we added it, it went out to plus 550.
Yep.
Now they are odds on to make the play-in, and they are plus 350 to make the playoffs. Could have gotten 12-1 a week ago.
Quick follow-up, because we talk about both of these stud performances from the rookies in Cooper Flagg and Con Knippel. Flagg minus 500 to be Rookie of the Year. Knippel plus 340. I know that number's kind of been all over the place, but is he a worthwhile candidate, you think, in this market?
I mean, I think I am going to be really interested to see how this goes. I think that there is a stronger case to be made if you actually remove the names and evaluate who they are. But I say remove the names because this is why when you handicap awards, it's not just about the statistical profiles. It's not just about what you see. It is handicapping the voters. And I say that because a month ago, you had voters who were outright dismissing Con Knippel and saying it was Cooper Flagg already. And I just don't think that mindset's going to change. I think voters, sadly, will make up their minds on some of these awards relatively early on in a season. And I think there's a lot of voters who have come out already and said that Cooper Flagg's their guy and really nothing is going to change that. I would think, to your point here, that if you're truly evaluating this race, that there is a much closer dynamic at play here that Con Knippel can win this. I mean, he is one of the linchpins of a Hornets team that has one of the most efficient lineups in the NBA right now. So I'm with you and with many others who are saying he should have a fair shot at this, but I think some of these voters are probably have already made up their minds that they're voting for Cooper Flagg.
That's disappointing to hear.
Of course it is. It's ridiculous.
Hopefully, Knippel will continue to play at the level that he is and have more of a chance. They are, with the 83 total points yesterday, it was the third most combined points by opposing rookies ever and the most since 1971. So very special night on the court yesterday for the two of them.
I have an update for you as well. So our starting 5 of LaMelo Ball, Con Knippel, Brandon Miller, Miles Bridges, and Moussa Diabate, they have outscored their opponents now by 35.3 points every 100 possessions on the floor together. They have an offensive rating of 143.4 when they're on the floor together.
That's awesome.
It's incredible. That is 99th and 100th percentile so far right now. And with those 5 out there, an effective field goal percentage of 68.8%.
I know we talk a lot about the Hornets on this program, but one might argue not enough.
I mean, they're one of the better.
It's such a fun story.
Well, they're a good story. They're one of the better cover teams at this point right now. So it is actually apt that we're discussing this too. And I'll have to double check to see because they could be on pace to be. I usually start about now, so this is a good time. I'll have it ready for next week. Usually I keep track of win total results, but they could be on track to be our first win total cashed as well. I'll have to double check on that. Don't quote me on it because the Jazz are very close. Their win total was 18.5.
Yeah, we will, like we said, get more into the NBA a little bit later on. We'll go through the full 9-game card today, as well as some prop angles with Zach Cohen a little bit later. But I do want to react a little bit to what a great night it was on the ice yesterday. So many down-to-the-wire games, crazy comebacks. The Oilers have a 3-goal third-period comeback over the Sharks to win 4-3. They were down 3-0 to open the third period. Leon Draisaitl scores an early goal. Still down 3-1 with 3 minutes to go. McDavid scores, Evan Bouchard scores. They force overtime in the final minute, and then Zach Hyman wins it. So just a ridiculous ending to a game that we were already looking so forward to begin with. The Hurricanes overcome a 2-goal deficit, scoring 3 times in the final 2 minutes against the Mammoth to not force overtime, but to win in regulation 5-4, which was wild. The Golden Knights were down 4-1 early in their third period against the Stars, bring it all the way back to force overtime. They eventually lose to Dallas, though, which is just another overtime loss for the freaking Vegas Golden Knights, who have 14 of them now, by the way, just to continue to bolster their points percentage and be first in the Pacific. And then Patrick Kane, an assist in the second period, did have him make history yesterday as the most points in NHL history for a U.S.-born player. But I was talking to you about this off the air. The end of that game in regulation was freaking bonkers. I know you're happy that the Detroit Red Wings get a loss because you've been like, all right, can you fall apart, please, because of the bet you placed on them to miss the playoffs, right? Was that what you ended up putting in? The goal that ultimately ended up tying this game at 3 late, DeBrincat, just tries to dump the puck in. It ends up hitting the little camera hole in the glass and, caroms around, goes off the goalie and in to tie the game at 3 and force OT. So and they were down 2 goals late in that, and they come all the way back with those 2, and that's the one that equalizes it and forces overtime. If you had the Caps, you were losing your freaking mind. You end up winning that bet still if you bet them on the money line, but the frustration you would be feeling if that's the goal that ends up forcing overtime. It was just such a fun night last night overall. It was a blast.
It was good. I mean, it was a good sports night. There was a lot of good contests through every single sport pretty much for the most part. And we'll have more on these and best bets when we get to hockey a little bit later. But I added another future. Got to hit one of these right. I bet Edmonton to win the Pacific.
Let's go.
This Knights team, come on now. Get a goalie that can actually play.
It's great. There are significant, there's a significant number of teams that have fewer wins than the Golden Knights. That have more wins than the Golden Knights that are out of the playoff picture right now. Meanwhile, they're first in the division. Here we go. We got to step aside. More Money Moves after this. Mike Palm joining us in studio next.
So you're listening to this podcast because you want an edge. But what if I told you you're only halfway there? You've got the mindset. Now it's time to get the toolkit to match. Here's the thing. Pro bettors spend thousands on data and tools. But what they don't want you to know is that you can get the same edge for a fraction of the cost with VSiN Pro. VSiN Pro gives you access to expert picks, public betting data, prop projections, powerful tools, analytics, and more. Just tap the link in the description and see why thousands of bettors are already using VSiN Pro to cash more bets.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Back here on Money Moves, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network, Sirius XM, Channel 158. Stormy Buonantony, Jonathan Von Tobel with you. Excited to have Mike Palm with us in studio like he is each and every Friday, VP of Operations here at Circa Resort and Casino, where we are broadcasting from and where we've seen the first massive bet for the Super Bowl come through.
Well, but you have to understand the context of the bet, Stormy. It's the person that has the $50,000 on the Rams or on the Seahawks at 75-1. This is a hedge, right? He bet 1.1 million at plus 188 on the New England on the money line. The same way he did when he had 50,000 on the Seahawks at 37-1 to win the NFC. He bet 500,000 on the Rams at plus 2.5, though. He was trying to hit the middle there. This is just a straight, you're going to win one or the other bet. So, but we hope to take a dozen 7-figure bets. Obviously more will come in as we get closer to the game. And there's been years we've taken 1 or 2. There's been years we've taken 7. So, but it's the Super Bowl. You have to be able to take a 7-figure bet.
So how do you handle your limits for these for the Super Bowl? Is it always max limits to start the 2 weeks? Do you open it up as you get later? How do you guys go about it?
No, it's like we do with every week. Yeah. As close to the game, that's the limits will go up. Mm-hmm. You start out 2 weeks out, and you're on the app. You're looking at 25,000, and then by the time we get to this weekend, now you're looking at 100,000, and then as we get into next week, it's 250. And if you always want more, you just make a phone call, right?
Sure.
And discuss it.
I know the bulk of, obviously, the money, like you said, is going to come in when we get closer to kickoff. But as of right now, how much play have you seen on the game side in total?
We've seen, outside of his bet, we've seen most of the money line action be on on the Seahawks, right? That's that we've seen most of, and we've seen people take 4.5, which if you don't know which way the line's going to go, I'd rather have 4.5 in case it's 4 than lament having 4.5 when it's 5, right? I mean, that seems to be more key. And if you think it was going to go one way or the other, I think you just grab the 4.5. So, but we've even with the $1 million bet, right? We've written what? We're probably 3% of what we're going to write on the Super Bowl right now.
Yeah.
How many of these respected opinions actually get out there this early in the process?
I think people have respected opinions, but still wait to get closer to the game because things can happen. Guys get hurt. We don't know the guys are hurt. There's still some question about Darnold, right? You don't know what the weather's going to be in an outdoor venue right now, 2 weeks out. So, I mean, if you think the line is really off, which maybe 3.5 was a little light to open the game, and you jump on it, I get it, right? But, you know, eventually this is the most liquid market we have in the world once a year, right? And the number's going to get to be what the number's supposed to be.
Yeah, we have a lot of sharp voices. I mean, there's like the sentiment that the sharp voices are on the Patriots early on. So that's why I was curious. I mean, Kylie Jenner entered the fray the other day. So
Kendall, you keep mixing it up. It's
Is
Kendall.
it Kendall? Oh, okay.
Gosh, get
I don't
together.
know the difference.
I see neither do I.
It's Devin Booker's ex. That's the.
And Joe Burrow's
Several.
current girlfriend.
Several athletes. She's
Joe Burrow's with Kendall Jenner now?
Is that that's the one that I'm getting wrong, right? Yeah, she appeared on the Fallon show, whatever that one is. She's in a tiger printed dress,
together.
and then he posted a picture of it. Yeah.
Wowee, look at that.
Yep.
What side do you sit on right
all
now?
real.
Do you have a firm opinion?
I think that Vrabel need only study the tape of the game that the Vikings played against Seattle, the Brosmer game, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, that was November 30th when they got beat 26-0. But they shut down this Seattle offense like no other team did all year. They had 17 first downs, only 219 yards from scrimmage. Darnold was 14 of 26 for 128. JSN only had 2 catches. They sacked him 4 times for 34 yards. Look, they had 1 rushing touchdown and a special teams touchdown and 4 field goals. I think the Vikings did a great job of generating pressure against him and really limiting their passing game. And I think, you know, Vrabel's got 2 weeks to put together a plan to try to stop Darnold because, you know, that was a high-level NFC championship game, I thought. I mean, if you looked at the 2 championship games last Sunday, and you would say, well, the winner of the second game is clearly better than the winner of these 2 teams plodding along here in this first game. But now you've got 2 weeks to prepare. And frankly, can May play any worse than he's played in the playoffs?
Yeah.
I think he's been very bad. I thought the entire first half he was one read. He wasn't looking the field over at all, you know, and then the weather got bad and they were able to use his legs, but that was about it.
Well, and I know people keep saying, well, look at the defenses that you're playing another really good one in Seattle this weekend as well.
You could argue it's an upgrade.
Sure.
But I mean, the Chargers are no slouch, and then you go against the Texans and the Broncos and I personally thought the Denver defense was overrated. I thought they were only a pass rush. If you could protect your quarterback, I didn't think that. I get their Surtain, but I didn't think their secondary was going to hold up, and I thought you could run the ball at them. It's going to be interesting to see if Vrabel tries to run the ball right at the Seahawks. Because I think they can.
Oh, you think so?
I do.
Yeah.
I wouldn't hesitate to say I just can't run the ball against this team. We're just going to drop back 50 times. I think you've got to try to run the football.
Yeah, I mean, I think this Seahawks team is pretty incredible. And I mean, even to your point, the game that you're using as a reference, because they were awful on offense, and they won 26-0 in that
Well,
game.
Brosmer was not an NFL quarterback.
Not at all. All right, prop-wise, so how are you guys handling that? Well, what's the process been like?
So, you know, I think we'll end up with a little over 200 props. I mean, but there's obviously variations of them. And they release them in waves. You know, individual props were early in the week, and then they come out with team props, and now they're releasing today special situation props,
Sure.
and they'll do some more fun ones on Monday, right? You know, we're not going to be the best. I mean, Westgate puts a lot of time into doing that, and I applaud them for it. You know, and we send Chris Bennett ideas, and his thing is always, well, that's interesting, but if I don't think it's going to create any volume, why book it, right? Why try to price something that's not going to drive action? So, but it's still fun to do it, and I mean, that's why I very rarely am interested in the side or total in a Super Bowl. It just turns out that way, right? At the end, I just don't have a strong opinion, but I do try to hit some plus money props along the way, right?
So I know it's early, and we'll have a deeper conversation on that coming up next Friday when we have you back on. But are there any that have already kind of been percolating in your mind?
I think they've over-adjusted May's rushing yards.
Yeah, it's like 38.5.
Yeah,
talking about that earlier.
It's way too overcorrected to me. I played under on 37 and 38.5. I'm thinking about playing some rushing props over though for Stevenson. But, I have to dive into it. I mean, I took 2 hours just starting to look at some of these packets that are out around town to try to find things. I always like
just circling things.
I always like to try to find the, no score in the first 5.5 minutes, stuff like that, right? And I remember that Super Bowl with the Rams and the Patriots. You hit every single under bet you hit in that game, right? No 5.5, 6.5, 7.5, 8.5, first quarter, second quarter, half, third quarter. I mean, the whole game. So you can try to string those together and get a great gain script where you don't have to invest a lot of money but can make some.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was talking. So I like to do that. Now, there's a danger in it because if you want to correlate everything, then you blow it up. Or I think you and I were sharing the same sentiment last year. We were watching the Super Bowl up here. I tied everything to an Eagles blowout. Sure enough, when you get that, it is a great day. So hopefully that happens.
Also, we got some other news in the NFL this morning. Like, just when you thought that all of the GM vacancies were filled with Ian Cunningham getting hired by the Falcons yesterday, then we have another opening that became available with Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah in the Minnesota Vikings. What do you think?
Well, first of all, he's the GM in name only. That's very true. He had nothing. His comments about whether he regretted letting Darnold go are so farcical and so offensive to that organization. Who knows that KOC drafts all the offensive players and Flores drafts the defense. This guy is a process guy and a figurehead guy. Everything runs through KOC. That's why I said if Flores doesn't get a head coaching job, he's not going anywhere to be a D coordinator anywhere. He has total control over his defense. He'll never be in a better situation. And by the way, they're still blackballing the guy. So anyhow, the comments about Darnold are ridiculous. There was never any consideration to keep Darnold. It was always a one-year deal. That was it. Where the Vikings and where KOC screwed up was Daniel Jones. They offered Daniel Jones $15 million. The Colts gave him $14 and promised him to be the starter. He went back to Minnesota and said, "Can you promise me I'll be the starter?" And they said, "No, it's McCarthy if he's healthy." And so he went. It ended up being a good decision. But that's where they screwed up this season. Darnold is completely irrelevant to it. There was zero chance he was ever coming back. So I guess this Rod Brzezinski, the VP of Ops, is going to take over. They were always, from what my source who's in the organization tells me, they were going to let Kwesi go after the draft. But his public comments about Darnold pushed the envelope. Plus, he was trying to meddle in the draft this year. The employees are told on the offensive side to report to KOC and the Flores and he kept saying, "No, you come to me first before you go to them." This was creating confusion in the building. They don't like to do this. The Wilfs hate this. Well, this is a black eye firing. It looks bad for everybody, and they were just going to try to do it quietly after the draft out of a news cycle.
But I feel like that would also be silly to even let him be part of that draft process.
He's not a part of it.
If you were going to fire
him.
No, but if he's doing what you say he's doing behind the scenes, trying to get people to go through him, that just seems counterproductive to have him be there in April.
Stormy, you got a taste of doing big-time college basketball last week. In the last 25 seconds here, compare and contrast it to college football and hockey as a sideline reporter.
It's a totally different job. It's obviously I'm not like running around a 100-yard football field to try to track down injury information and stuff. They're just right there. The rosters are significantly smaller. It was a fun environment at Texas Tech. I had never been there before. It was really, really loud, even with the weather, so that was fun. But it short hits just like hockey, so that was a little bit more similar. But fun. It was very fun.
I know. I watched Saturday morning for 3 hours just to have Tim Murray talk about you being in Lubbock and know how it was.
Stop.
Absolutely destroying him. That was good stuff.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Big news in the NBA as we welcome you back here to Money Moves on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Stormy Buonantony, Jonathan Von Tobel with you. Looks like we'll have the return of the one and only Nikola Jokic tonight?
Yeah, because my team can't have good things happen to him. We get the news about an hour ago that Kawhi Leonard will, in fact, play tonight. And Nikola Jokic said, "Screw you, I'm back, baby." So Jokic will play tonight for the Denver Nuggets. Nuggets down to a 1.5-point dog at home with a total of 215. So we'll see. Remember, this team still is pretty shorthanded. No Christian Brown, no Aaron Gordon. In fact, we got news yesterday yesterday that was pretty bad for the Nuggets, that Aaron Gordon actually re-aggravated his hamstring injury, so it's going to be another 4 to 6 weeks before he comes back. But still, I will reiterate, we could talk about awards. If he plays every game going forward, he'll have played in 66, making the 65-game minimum. Having said that, we'll say that big picture, I will reiterate once again, this is a team worth investing in. They will be healthy by the time the playoffs come around. I think they could arguably be the best team in the Western Conference.
Well, let's see if our guest agrees, as Will Hill joins us here on the Progressive Guest Line. VSiN host, analyst, and, of course, host of the Shoulda Bet More podcast. And, Will, what do you think when you hear that news about Jokic?
Yeah, you see something like that, and you run to see what his numbers are in terms of the MVP. I do think that's cutting it a little thin. I know he's had a history here of playing in all these games, but coming off of injury at his age, will they pace him a little bit and just have him sit out a night here, a night there, any sort of a twist of an ankle, and he's done? But it's not like we've got 3 quarters or half the season left. We're starting to get quietly towards the last, third of the season or so, last 30 or so games. The season does go by pretty quickly here when you have other things going on. So I'm with you. I think that, look, OKC has certainly shown some flaws here. Maybe it's the middle of the season boredom, but the offense has been a little bit clunky. They're still really good on defense, but Denver almost got them last year in the playoffs. Denver, acquitted themselves well without Jokic. So if I saw a number on Jokic, I don't know. I'm curious, JVT, what you would think. Like, what number? Like, what's the buy price here in terms of the MVP? Because I think it's possible. I just don't know if there's enough wiggle room to actually pull the trigger here on like a Jokic MVP.
Yeah, I would want long odds. We should start there. I'd also say that we might also have a little bit of a hiccup here. In the game he lost, they lost him to injury. He only played 19 minutes and 21 seconds.
Is that not enough to count for a game?
The 20 minimum, it's a 20 minutes minimum to count as a start. So instead, he actually might technically have missed another game and thus cannot miss another one instead of having just one. I'll have to double check on that one. But either way, the whole point here, Will, to yours, I would want long odds on him to actually be able to do it. He has this history of doing it. As I mentioned to you, every season so far, he's played in 70-plus games, save for one. He played in 69. This is a dude that is going to play as many games as possible. So we'll see if they want to be careful with him. But I think big picture, it's more about the finals in the West than anything else.
All right. Well,
yeah, and I was going to say just quickly, also you have to factor in like he's won it before and the missed games. Like even if he's eligible, the missed games count against them, even though SGA's resume here is taking a little bit of a hit with how OKC has struggled, but it's certainly interesting.
SGA is minus 380 on the MVP odds board right now. Luka plus 850. As for tonight, the Nuggets, at least as of right now, plus 1.5 point home dogs in that spot. Let's go from the NBA, though, to some college hoops because we do have a massive game coming up in the Big Ten with Michigan and Michigan State going head-to-head in this one. Michigan opened a 1.5 point favorite. We saw a flip of favorites there for a while. Now they're back in the favorites role. How do you see this one going tonight?
I like Izzo here as a home dog. I like Michigan State. Michigan does not come into this game in good form. I know you're nitpicking when you're talking about 19-1, 20-1 Michigan team, but I was doing the primetime show the night before Thanksgiving, and Michigan beat Gonzaga by 40 points. It's about as impressive a result as anyone's going to have all season. And they beat USC by 30 on the day after New Year, so January 2nd. That's not been who they are since. They've really regressed in the last month or so. The last 7 games they haven't covered. They lost to Wisconsin. They could have lost to Penn State. They were down double digits against a shorthanded Nebraska team. And if you look at that Nebraska game, Michigan shot 19 of 23 from the foul line. Nebraska shot 3 of 4. That free throw disparity against Izzo in Izzo's building, that free throw disparity is not going to be there. So the current form, home court, the fact that it's Izzo, Michigan has shown some cracks here. I like Michigan State here. I think they get it done here. I like Michigan State here as a home dog.
How come you didn't mention San Diego State among those blowouts? I wonder.
Wow.
Remember they smoked the Stormers Aztecs? A little bit. We got to give context to our audience as to what's going on with the Michigan team. Couldn't agree more, by the way. All right, let's go to the Big East. Providence and Villanova. It's been a fun season for Villanova, but what do you expect here? We go inside or total today? Nova right now 9.5 point favorite. Total is about 156.5.
I like the over. Providence is an over team. They can score basically like a tournament team, a Sweet 16 team. They defend like a high school team. Look at some of the point totals in their games. Last 7 games, 181, 181, 209. That was overtime, but that was well into the 90s for each team, even before overtime. 170, 168, another 200-point game, 159. Every game goes over what this total would be here at 156.5. Now, the little caveat here, Nova's slow. Nova plays without a lot of pace, 352 in the country in terms of pace. And last time these teams met earlier in the month, it was only a 69 or so possession game, which is, again, a slow pace, but that game was 88-82. I think Providence, you can't really make these numbers high enough. They're so good on offense. They're so bad on defense. Last time these teams met, it was 170. I'm just going to continue to look at these Providence overs. I think it's a little bit of a hidden gem in the market here because they're just a dead over team with their lack of defense. Just no effort. If you watch them, just no effort on defense. They can't guard the perimeter. They just don't show any interest in playing defense, but they're good on offense. So I will go over here with the Friars and Villanova.
156.5 where we're sitting right now. Another game that you had interest in tonight, Grand Canyon and Boise State going head-to-head in the Mountain West. Still can't get used to the Lopes being in the Mountain West, but
need a bounce back from our Lopes, though.
But we forge on, after losing in overtime at Nevada the other night in a bounce back spot, laying 1.5 at home. How do you see it?
It is a bounce back spot. It's not an ideal spot because it's off an overtime game. I believe that game was on a Tuesday, so you got a quick turnaround to a Friday. And they're not the deepest team, and they might be dealing with a couple guys here who are nicked up. That being said, Boise comes in this game, I think, off a 4-game winning streak. But if you look in those 4 games, Boise has shot the three extremely well, 42% from three in that 4-game winning streak. This is a tough place to play. This is a really hard place to win. And I think shooting the ball that well in this building will be difficult. So there's some 3-point shooting regression coming. Tough place to win. I think Grand Canyon does bounce back here. I like them on the money line. Shop around, whether it's 1 or minus 150, minus 120 or so on the money line. I do think Grand Canyon gets it done here at home.
All right, well, I believe I talked to you. Man, time flies by. I believe I talked to you on Sunday after the conference championship games. That was this same week, which seems insane to me. What do you like for our audience first before we get to Super Bowl MVP? What do you like side or total for the Super Bowl?
I like Seattle. I have thought all year, and I talked about this various points in the year, I just think the NFC is better. I think you guys are probably a little too young, but you remember in the 90s, like there was a long stretch where it just seemed like whether it was the Cowboys or the 49ers or the Packers. I think Stormy is too young, so I don't think Stormy's old enough to have seen the 49ers win.
I'm like a year and a half older than her.
I was born, but barely.
I'm like only a year and a half older than her.
I just think the NFC is better.
Yeah.
Continue.
Yeah, that was a blowout against the Chargers. You would have enjoyed that one. I just think the NFC is better. May has not played well. I think it's going to be a different step up here against Seattle. And look, they've caught so many breaks here. You got to give the defense credit and Vrabel credit. All of that being said, Chargers with a banged up offensive line. Stroud was awful. Stroud didn't have Nico Collins, who was hurt. We know Denver's issues, the weather, all of those things. This is a different animal with Seattle, so I think Seattle gets it done. But I'm surprised you're getting Darnold plus 125, plus 130 for MVP. In past years, the books had kind of caught on to this where if you want to bet Mahomes for MVP, you might as well just bet the Chiefs because the line was about the same, maybe a 5 or 10 cent difference. Is it really worth it to take a shot that somebody else wins the MVP? Usually not. To me, a dollar or so difference here between MVP for Darnold and Seahawks winning. Darnold's got a great story. The media loves him, seems to be nice to everybody. It's a great story. He's on his 5th team. Is there a scenario where Seattle wins the game and he doesn't win the MVP? Of course, anything is possible, but I think he'll get the benefit of the doubt in a major way here. And the one guy you have concern about stealing from him is JSN. But if JSN has a big game, Darnold's throwing him the ball. So I really like this price on Darnold. I'm surprised you're getting plus 130. I think it's a good number on Darnold to win the MVP here.
Yeah,
right.
I think that's the tough thing with wide receivers because your stats are so connected, and you would need Darnold to throw a few picks or have sack fumbles or something like that in order for.
Why are you trying to take this away from me?
I'm just saying.
Why are you trying to take this away from me? Will knows as well. I might have a couple of crossword parlays tied to JSN, and if he wins, then we're sitting on a 50-1 Dodgers to win the World Series ticket. Come on now, we need this thing to happen. Will, last 90 seconds, just in general, how many props do you think you'll be sitting on Super Bowl 60? I know you're a guy that likes to play, so how much will be sitting on here?
Probably 5 or 10 or so. I did like the one Mike Palm mentioned. It. I like that no score first 5.5, 6 minutes.
Yeah.
These teams, especially these teams, haven't played in Super Bowl. These players and quarterbacks haven't played in the Super Bowl. You come out a little tight, little conservative. Let's not throw a pick 6 early. Let's not fumble early. We don't need a trick play. Let's not lose the game right away. I think that's a theme often with these Super Bowls. Mahomes and the Chiefs, they've had some higher scoring Super Bowls, but they've been in it before. I think you get a slow scoring start. So under first quarter, no score first 5.5, 6 minutes. Those are ones I like. But I will say that this in the last few seconds, do not bet something that's fun, but you might have to hire a lawyer if you think you got ripped off. Well, if you're going to bet the national anthem, they might count the last few words. If they say them over again, they might not. Just know what you're getting involved in.
Very well played. Great point. Will, you're awesome as always. Thanks for doing this, buddy.
All right. See you. Thanks for having me.
Will Hill, everybody, follow him on X at @NotTheWillHill. And of course, download, subscribe, the Shoulda Bet More podcast wherever you get your podcasts. We got to step aside here on Money Moves, but when we come back, turning our attention back to the association, we will dive into that 9-game card coming up in the NBA next.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the sports betting network.
In the association, as we welcome you back to this Friday edition of Money Moves, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Stormy Bonantoni, Jonathan Von Tobel. You want to join in on any of the conversation today? Tweet at us at MeJVT, at Storm Bonantoni,
yes,
at VSiN Live. Big news coming through in the last 15 minutes or so from Shams Charania of ESPN that Denver's Nikola Jokic out since December 29th, back in the lineup today against your Los Angeles Clippers. This game inside Ball Arena in Denver tonight, where the hometown Nuggets are getting 1.5 against the Clips.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Now, for those who would sit there and say, what do you mean? Christian Brown out, Aaron Gordon out, Cam Johnson out, as well as, let's see, those are 3 big names. So that's why this is still a situation where the Clippers are favored on the road against the Denver Nuggets. Clippers injury report is clean. Kawhi Leonard listed as available. There was some thought that maybe he would not play, but everybody else is available for the Los Angeles Clippers that plays regular minutes for him. So, very good litmus test for the Clippers here. 1.5-point favorites on the road. Jokic is back. I have not seen any indications that he would be on a minutes restriction. And it's not, I guess this is the good thing. It's not a soft tissue injury. This is a hard contact injury. So if he's healed, one would assume. And there is no worry of aggravating something here if that is the case. So very interested to see it. And then you just get the basketball aspects of it, of Zubac versus Jokic and how good that battle has been when they play against one another. I would say right now, lean a little bit toward the Clippers just because, hey, look, they're the more full team. They are ready to go. They're a little bit healthier. They deserve to be 1.5-point favorites. Low total, too. So that's what I'm going to be interested to see is how this game is played from a scoring standpoint, too. Because I think 217.5, is that the total you have in front of you right now?
Yep.
Pretty low number for a Clippers team that has been playing a lot better on defense. And this thing opened, how about this, 210.5 at some spots. So we've seen this rise quite a bit from the open this morning. That's
Clippers,
what Jokic is worth.
Clippers been a pretty, I know that their win-loss record speaks for itself for what they've done since the start of the season, the way they've turned things around, but covered in 3 straight, and what is this, 8 of their last 10 as well?
So they've been blowing them out, yeah. Look, man, they are, I think they're the first team in NBA history to go 3-16 and then 16-3 or whatever in the inverse. They're a team that is.
Did that guy eat the tweet, by the way?
He did. He printed it out and did it on some sort of podcast or something like that. I did watch. But this is not a game that I had much on, but I'll say this is now becomes the most fascinating game of the evening, just to see what Jokic looks like, what his minutes restriction will be like, and if this team can continue its winning ways. We've talked about this a lot, but I think Adelman deserves a ton of credit for the way that this team has been playing in the non-Jokic games, and to come out with a winning record, that is incredible. So very good for them. They come in having won 3 out of 4 themselves, so they were more than above water without him out there.
For anyone who doesn't know what I was talking about, by the way, there was somebody who said, if the Clippers go 15-3 at any point in the season, I will eat this tweet. So that's what that was about.
Well, the incredible part about it was the 15-3 run started the day he tweeted it.
Correct.
Yes. I don't know how in the world that happens, but maybe none of this is real.
Literally had to eat his words.
Maybe this is the Matrix, and it's all a simulation, and who knows?
I keep on refreshing the MVP board to see if we do get Nikola Jokic put back on it on DraftKings because he is currently off the board. Is that at FanDuel or where?
FanDuel has him at 5-1.
Okay.
I would want a little bit more.
Yeah, especially if you only have the wiggle room of 1 to 2 games, potentially, depending on what that number is.
So to Stormy's point, the game he went out, he officially, on Basketball Reference, played 19 minutes and 21 seconds. Why that matters is that would not count as a start. If that counts as a start, he would have a 2-game wiggle room. If not, he'd have a game to miss in his pocket. And since he does not, that means that if that's not a start, then he cannot miss another game. So technically, he is still viable to win the award, but he cannot miss a single game going forward.
Obviously, we have a lot more games to get to. Where would you like to go next? What's another game that caught your attention on the board?
I'm not that one. I mean, one of us.
I do have a bet.
There we go. Come on. What do we got?
I bet the Pistons +3.
Say it with your
It's
chest. Let's go.
It's
Confidence.
+2.5 right now, but I bet the Pistons +3.
There we go.
I know we still have to await injury report information on this game, and we'll get it likely as we're getting off of the air today. But and I'm aware that it's a bad situational spot on the second half of a back-to-back too. But
And a third game in 4 nights.
Yeah. But I just feel like, I mean, the Pistons are really freaking good at basketball.
Mm-hmm.
They are the top team in the Eastern Conference, and Golden State is still trying to figure out whatever they are with the Jimmy Butler injury, and maybe a little too fat and happy after beating up on a bad Jazz team because they got hot from 3, that I feel like the wrong team might be favored in this spot, even on the road. So Pistons in a bad spot on the road, I get it, but I feel like they're the better team.
Let's see. News coming down right now that the Pistons are resting 3 of their 4 starters tonight, including Cade Cunningham.
You're lying.
This number's up to 6.5 in favor.
You're lying.
Yes, I am. But that is basketball.
I hate that you do that kind of thing to me.
It happens all the time.
What did you say to me earlier? You're like, I'm going to laugh when you get your first taste of basketball, of betting the NBA. That
I mean, I gave you the good scenario, but I told you the scenario of mine, which was, I think, last year or the year before, where I had laid 3.5 with the Clippers. They were on the road in Milwaukee against the Bucks. Giannis, I thought he wasn't going to play. Giannis eventually gets ruled out. Clippers close as 3.5, or excuse me, it took 5.5. They close as 3.5-point favorites, and then they blow a double-digit lead in the fourth quarter and end up losing by 6.
Yeah. So that's just NBA betting in a nutshell,
it's
essentially.
NBA. It's absolutely tremendous. I mean, you had a taste of it the other day with Houston and San Antonio? Was that what it was?
No.
It was San Antonio, wasn't it?
I had a Spurs Thunder game. Are you talking about the Hornets game?
No, yeah, you had a Spurs game that you missed by a hook or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very frustrating.
Yes.
Taking 5.5 and they're up however many points. They're up double digits and then they end up
So what happens?
vomit-inducing. But so I'm delving back into betting the NBA. We'll see how it goes. But I was just looking at the stuff yesterday from Golden State, who made a season-high 23 three-pointers that game against the Jazz, against a team with no three-point defense, and maybe just a little false sense of confidence coming out of that one against a Pistons team that's really good.
Yep. All right, couple of things for you here today on the association card. First off, let's go to Washington, D.C., our
Let's
nation's
do it.
capital. Nothing going on out there except for this really good basketball game between the Washington Wizards and the Los Angeles Lakers. Lakers up to a 9.5-point favorite, total of 228 or 228.5, depending on where you look. Why this game matters, we have 2 questionables, 1 good, 1 bad. The bad one, Luka Doncic, is questionable to play for this game. The good one, his lesser white compatriot, Austin Reeves, is questionable. He might be back for this game against the Washington Wizards. So that's going to be a pretty good sign. If Luka does not play, what I'm going to be very curious about this year, if you remember at the beginning of the year, when Luka went out, when LeBron went out, or when one of the two was out, they ran every offensive possession through Austin Reeves. So I'm going to be curious to see if there's a minutes restriction or anything like that. But I always assume that if you're ready to play and there's no obvious minutes restriction, you're going to be the guy that you were before you got injured. Mm-hmm. So I'll be curious to see points and assists for Austin Reeves. I don't know. I don't want to play it now. But if Luka misses this game, or if Luka misses a little bit of an extended time with this injury that he's got right now, which is it's that left ankle soreness. It's the one that he twisted the other night against Cleveland when he fell off the court.
Such a weird thing.
But just keep an eye on Reeves and the points and assists. And I would say if you're betting somewhere that's got the adjusted in-game props, if this looks anything like Reeves, if Luka doesn't play, this might be a game where, again, everything just goes through him. He's going to be able to dominate these.
The points props at 15.5, points and assists 19.5, over at -106.
Yeah, that's a really low number. Keep in mind it was high 30s when he was like at the peak of his powers when Luka wasn't playing. So that's worth noting there for Austin Reeves here today. Other games that are worth mentioning here today outside of those, let's go to Cleveland and Phoenix. We've seen this number move quite a bit. This opened 6.5 with a total of 223. Cleveland down to 3.5 here today against the Phoenix Suns. We know that Darius Garland's not going to play, but that's it on the injury report of note. Evan Mobley as well, but he missed the last game as well against the Los Angeles Lakers, so they've been playing without him. Pretty interesting to see such a strong line move for a Suns team that itself is on the second leg of a back-to-back after some spots opened up 6. And considering the fact that Cleveland, as we have discussed, Story, is kind of on a little bit of a run here at this point right now. They've started to turn things around. Yes, in the start of a road trip here after beating the Lakers at home last time out, but they've covered 3 straight. They've covered 4 out of 5. If you zoom out a little bit, they've won 5 straight, and I think it's now 12 out of 16 for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Market's been kind of low on them because of all of the injuries, but they're slowly starting to get it together. This might be the top of the market, and thus the market coming in and cutting them down from a 6-point favorite on the road. But we'll see how short this gets. Think Cleveland would be relatively alive here if this number continues to drop on the road against Phoenix.
And then what about Raptors and Magic? I was looking, Toronto won 4 straight in this series dating back to last year. And their most recent game at the end of December, if you remember, Toronto had to overcome a 21-point deficit, but they did and ended up winning by 1 in that spot. It's a 1.5-point spread with Orlando favored.
Yeah, still no Franz Wagner. I would just say that the Raptors left a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth the other day, up at halftime over the New York Knicks, and then just get bludgeoned there in the second half, curb stomped by the New York Knicks. And that...
Does that not create just a terrible visual in your mind? I go full-blown American History X when I hear that word.
No, I do not. It does not come back to me at all. So, long story short, I don't know if I trust the Raptors here, but would say... It's going to be interesting to watch the Magic considering recent form and bigger picture how poorly they've played.
Hey, well, you're sitting down watching the games tonight. You want to get a little grub. If you don't have Omaha Steaks, what are you doing? And right now, when you spend $129 at Omaha Steaks, you can score 2 pounds of fully cooked chicken wings plus 50% off site-wide. omahasteaks.com/vsin is how you can get in there. Again, just spend $129, get 2 pounds of free wings, save 50% off site-wide on steaks and more. Great way to get set up for the Super Bowl as well if you're somebody hosting a party. omahasteaks.com/vsin. Minimum purchase required. Please see site for details. And we'll get more into the NBA a little bit later on in the program when Zach Cohen, host of Hardwood Handicappers, joins the program. He's got plenty of props on tonight's board as well. But we're going to step aside. When we come back, resetting for hour 2 of the program with some thoughts on the Super Bowl and some early prop markets that are already continuing to expand. Stay with us.